Well, all right, let's talk about this. I want to talk about this first. This is exciting. This is an interesting story that could have a massive impact on Pokemon cards. It's not really my thing, but a lot of people I know care a lot about Pokemon cards. And this, what I'm about to share with you, you may have heard about it. This came out 4 days ago. This could be disastrous.
Hello and welcome back to Wayne's Strange Brain. This is probably just going to be 10 minutes of me rambling and talking about a project that I've been working on for a little over 2 years now. The reason I'm telling you is actually because someone else went ahead and did this. And the thing I'm referring to is being able to look inside a pack of Pokemon cards or other trading cards without actually opening the pack.
So this guy has figured out how to do something that has potential implications on the market that are frankly disastrous. He purchased a CT scanner for $1,500. He spent 3 months fixing it himself because he had a sealed pack of cards that his dad gifted him. He wanted to know if he would be able to see what cards were inside of them without opening the pack. X-ray machines and other scanning machines, people have used them in the past to look at magic cards, not to see what cards are in there because we actually can't do that with magic packs, but to see the corners on alpha cards. Alpha cards are cut differently, so if you scan an alpha deck, you can know if there's alpha cards in it because you can see the corners through the scan. Why is this different? This guy set on a quest to see if he'd be able to scan these Pokemon packs in a way that lets you identify the actual card inside. Not just like is it an alpha or beta, but what is the rare? And to start, we actually get a little scan of something fun.
Wayne is here who bought a CT machine on eBay and scanned a burrito. Is that true?
That's what I want to hear. That is like the meme internet culture that we live in. People are buying CT scanners to be like, I got to see what's in this burrito. Is there carne asada in there? We're going to find out.
So a very small burrito.
Honestly, anything bigger would make me too full, and it would hurt my jaw. The bigger ones, they hurt. Anyway, I think that's a normal size burrito. Huge, right, chat? I mean, this whole community gathered around CT scanning to try to read these ancient scrolls, and it got a lot of attention on this, but this community was able to, they were successful. They were able to successfully scan these scrolls to read them without having to unravel them and destroy them. They were all like carbonized and shitty and blackened and whatever. Okay, so where does that leave us? Once they figured out that technique, our boy here was like, it's time to put everything we've learned to the test. Can we scan a Pokemon card? I'm setting it up. I'm gonna let him explain it, okay?
One of the things I did was I looked at 2D images, actually. I was like, hey, maybe you can just like take a picture of a card. And it turns out there's actually like not a tiny amount of contrast. There's a very small amount of contrast in X-rays, but obviously this technique wouldn't work if there wasn't some contrast. It turns out that if you do a two-dimensional image, then you can get some contrast. And the problem turns out when you try and look inside a real pack, with several cards, with like 10 or 11 cards. And
so he was saying the problem came from the pack and the spaces in the pack and everything. That made it a lot more difficult.
I worked with some very intelligent people on this problem who, really like leaders in this field. And it's pretty difficult to denoise, after adding like 10 or 11 cards. But we tried and we got like these kind of blurry shapes where...
Why was Mewtwo and Mew so clear? Blurry ass Charizard, blurry ass Gengar, and then Mewtwo just... It's a 20-year-old Who's That Pokemon. But this time, it costs a lot of people a lot of money. I think we knew technology like this existed to an extent, but having access to a $500,000 machine and then getting access to with it is not common.
I haven't given up on this totally. I still have some ideas. One day I, just kind of went ahead and I was like, let's brute force this using some principles
Shouts out Brute Force, the local game store here in San Diego.
For scanning other things, like for industry, not to get into specifics, but, flat things are a specific problem actually in CT scanning. They have a long path length and it constantly changes. There's scatter, there's attenuation problems. But there's some principles you can take in mind. And then the big leap that I think actually enabled it was trying to virtually flatten it, which again was something that I learned from...
So this is where it all goes over my head, but evidently what he's saying is the stacked cards were problematic because we weren't getting a clear image. So he virtually flattens the packs. I don't know how, through some wizardry. Here, I'll let him explain this.
I've got these 2 packs. I was actually in Utah and I saw these packs for $250 each. They were in a little game shop and they said they were brought in by an old lady with a shoebox.
It's always brought in by an old dude. I bought in packs that were scams. It's like, yeah, it's been sitting in Joey B's closet for 30 years. It's never been touched. Nobody's ever seen it. It's got fucking Italian GI Joe cards in it. Okay, yeah, it's never been touched.
And if you know anything about packs, you know that they can be weighed, these old ones. So
this is important. Pokemon packs, old Pokemon packs, the way the card market figured out a way to find out what was in them, you could weigh them, and if they weighed more than a certain amount, they statistically would have a foil in them. Old Pokemon packs got their value from big hits in the form of foils. Old Magic did not. But old Pokemon, if it had a foil in it, it would be a heavy pack. And if it wasn't a heavy pack, it would be a light pack. Scammers would say, the pack's unweighed. Yeah, sure it is. Every loose pack of Pokemon at this point, old Pokemon, has definitely been weighed. Why wouldn't you weigh it? So that's how they used to do it, right? We didn't know what card was in there. You just could determine if there was a foil or not.
But it turned out that they were telling the truth, and there was a foil inside, and there was a foil inside both.
This is the crazy part right here. He bought 2 packs. He bought them sealed. After he scanned them, he determined not only that there were foils in there.
First edition Jungle, we've got a pincer.
He was able to successfully identify exactly which foil was in the pack. This is bad. This is really bad.
In first edition Fossil, we've got a Gengar.
So if you're wondering how this is possible, how is this Gengar? Well, and this is where it gets interesting. If you look, the foiling is the only thing you can see. That's the only thing it picks up on, and it's because the way Pokemon foiled their early cards. If you look at Gengar himself, you can actually see he doesn't have the foiling, and more importantly, I'll use my mouse. If you see right here, his Huntar stage doesn't have the foiling, but it creeps into this black background that does have foiling. The machine only shows you the foil, and using the contrast of that, you can see which card it is. So he actually used the top left here, along with the little arm sticking out, to know it's a Gengar.
I don't know what I want to do with these. I don't want to open them. I have no idea what this does to the value, because if you think about it,
what he brings up here is not something I considered. I consider something totally different, but what he talks about right here is insane.
An action figure is worth more when it's still in the box. These are still in the pack. So you can probably determine some of the aspects of value. You can determine centering. You can determine condition.
That is that you can determine centering for this.
And so if this was a PSA 10 when you opened it, what would it be when it's still in the pack? It's an 11?
What does that mean? What does that mean? I do think it probably won't be more valuable than a PSA 10, but in my opinion, a sealed, guaranteed CT scanned Charizard first edition Shadowless Holo is probably worth more than it raw. It's probably not worth more than a PSA 10, but it's probably worth more than a raw one. This guy is, I want to get in contact with this guy. First off, if I was this guy, I would not have made this video public. I would have started by contacting the right people. I don't know what you do with this information. Straight up releasing it is rather noble.
But that's really most of the story. I worked pretty hard at this.
Well, hold on, you scanned a Snickers? What really makes it so satisfying? What the wizardry is going on in this machine? We have a slow turning, possibly lead cog and something blasting at it. I have no clue, but it's cool.
I consider this applied physics.
There it is. Show me the dick vein.
I wasn't able to just be like, hey, I bought this with $1 million, because that's kind of how much these cost in general for a good one, that kind of scale.
That's the other thing that he just mentioned that's very important about this. He said for a good CT scan, like, you could pay over $1 million, so this wasn't really an issue for the world. But he was able to get one for $1,500, spend a few months repairing it. So let's say $1,500 to buy a broken one. If you want to spend 5 figures, you could probably get a functioning one of the same type. And that may seem like a lot of money. It's not when it comes to what we're talking about.
I feel like was able to prove something pretty significant, because this market is huge. If you think about in terms of just like, in terms of marketability, I mean, this is very chaotic.
There's more to it than just using it, though. There is a technique he's using on the computer, I think, I don't know. He was vague to like the layman, specific to people who know what they're doing. You don't just need a CT scanner.
We have, me and friends and potential business partners, and I'm sure these guys. It's a big deal if you take this seriously, and hopefully, if you're watching still at this point, you are taking this seriously. But what will the markets do? Will they tank?
Okay, so what does this mean, Chad? Let's talk about it. I want to talk about Magic. Magic is mostly safe for now. This whole technique hinges on the foiling of the card itself. And luckily for vintage Magic, especially the big Magic, the stuff that we spend most of our time in, there's no foil, and this technique needs the foil. In fact, the foiling is the only thing that gives them the ability to do this. And there's no foiling in old Magic. New Magic, yeah. In fact, you could scan every pack and look for serialized cards. You could scan every pack and look for different... I don't know if it can identify different types of foiling, but that's big. Now with that out of the way, let's talk about Pokemon. I feel bad for anyone who is invested in like vintage sealed Pokemon. I have 2 questions for this guy if this reaches him. I would like to see him do this with a Magic pack that has foiling. I want to know what it looks like. I want to see if it's possible. That's one. And the second biggest question I have for him is, can he do... Pokemon is... if this happens. Can he do this with a sealed box? Because if he can do this with a sealed box, vintage Pokemon sealed is fucked. Because this has been out for 4 days, I don't think everyone's going to have access to this. That's not the case, right? However, I think what a lot of people don't understand who might not be too into Magic collecting, the fact that this now exists and people know about it, we call them whales. There are whales, and there's a lot of them in Pokemon and Magic, in cards in general. And these whales, my guys, pick a number in terms of inventory or even just capital available to them. Pick a number, you're not even close. Millions and millions and millions of dollars invested in this. And those dudes who have millions of dollars, even if this was $30,000 to invest into, that's a drop in the bucket, and you absolutely should. The only thing stopping you, 2 things. 1, I don't know if people understood this could happen. And 2, I don't think anyone realized this could happen with a random YouTube guy, $1,500 in 3 months. That's crazy. So as a result, yeah, I think that right now, loose Pokemon packs, vintage ones, are probably okay and relatively safe. But I don't know, 1 year, 2 years, whatever it's going to be, you cannot buy loose vintage Pokemon packs unless it says CT scan. But then here's the other crazy thing. People are going to start faking that they scanned it, right? Maybe you scan it and you find a rare and you go CT scan, Charizard verified, and it's not that. Oh, it's so and I know everyone says buy from verified sellers, buy from verified sellers. I want you to hear me. The world's a great place. Woman lifts burning car to save small Chinese baby. The world's a beautiful place. But also, greed trumps everything. If this becomes readily available, everyone's going to do it. And the people who aren't doing it are going to lie about doing it. I want to get in contact with this guy to find out what he can do with Magic, because we're opening some Magic cards coming up soon, like Exodus and Onslaught. And I'm wondering, can he see those foils? I need to know, because that's detrimental. Okay, we're talking about vintage stuff. But again, if this becomes readily available, how well does this work on new Magic product? If you put in Bloomborough, can you see the gold treated leaf whatever for Jace? If you put in Assassin's Creed, can you find the serialized card? I really do believe he's one of the first, if not the first person to successfully do this. And by doing it, he just gave all those bad actor millionaire whales, this is possible. I'm going to do this now. The only difference is that we're going to know that it's possible, but here's what the majority of people are going to do. Oh, that sucks. Moving on. But then all the people who have the money to be able to figure out how to do this now are just going to do it. Hell, I would do it. Why wouldn't you? I don't know. I don't know, chat. This is fucking crazy, though. Yeah, so, hey, if you're currently holding loose Pokemon packs, I would suggest weighing them and getting rid of them. No, but for real, my question to Wayne, if this reaches you, which I'm sure someone will send it to you at some point, especially when it goes on YouTube. Wayne, can you scan boxes of cards and actually have a success rate? But good news, boys, we picked the better hobby. And really, I think this is God's way of punishing all the Pokemon fans. Your card game is just not fun. As someone who picked the better card game, the more fun card game, the more beautiful art, we're not being punished. Here's what I'll say. Anybody in my chat, anybody who can do this, I will pay you for the machine. I will pay you for whatever time it took you to code. I will pay you for your labor. I will fly you out to San Diego with the machine. You will set it up in this room, and we will live scan a foil pack of Magic the Gathering. You have to prove to me you can. I will pay you. We'll do a whole YouTube video about it. If anyone can do this for Magic cards that are non-foil, anyone thinks they can do it, you hit me up very privately, and we will blow up the whole industry, bro. But until then, that is why the Pokemon market is in trouble. In my opinion, it's a good thing this guy is just kind of innocently floating through space, because if someone else with his intelligence and ability was the first person to crack this, instead of making a YouTube video, you know what this guy could have just done? Buy out as much Pokemon product as he can possibly buy. Crack it all into individual packs, scan every one of them, and just slowly start releasing them onto the market. He would make so much money. Crack the Charizards, crack the Blastoises, crack everything, and then just start releasing dog shit onto the market. No one would ever catch him. You would never get caught. Approach a whale with this and be like, hey, bro, I can scan your whole collection. Oh my God, that's so fucked up. People are telling me to stop. Bro, I'm just giving you the truth. I'm giving you the truth. I want to do this on my stream. I want someone to come in and do this on my stream.
Full stack developer and consultant for 15 years. Here, I want to crack programming this. I'll hit you up on the business email.
Please do, brother. Someone on the Reddit said they have an update for scanning Magic. Hold on, this is so exciting to me. You can absolutely scan vintage Magic cards this way, explanation in post. It's actually quite easy. He links to a video. To scan all the cards, vintage Magic sets that aren't foil. Once you have the cards in machine, head to your local... Dude, I actually might, like, I don't think I want to stream. Head to your local park. Make sure to bring unsalted peanuts with you and some... Why hard-boiled eggs? Find some crows! Oh! What is the video even? True facts about crows. It's he linked just to a fucking crow video. This is... Why? Why do this to me? Why bait? Why don't you care? Anyway, that's all I had to say about Pokemon. Ryan, if you can turn that into a video, put it up there. Not you, Ryan. There's a lot of people named Ryan in the chat, I guess. Who looks at their beautiful baby boy and goes, Ryan? That's crazy. Like, I'm sick. Frankly, I'm sick.